There comes a moment in every person's life when everything begins to change. And that moment is not when circumstances improve, not when opportunities suddenly appear, and not when people start supporting you. That moment is when you make a decision, a firm, unshakable decision deep inside your heart that says, from this day forward, I will take control of my life. Self-discipline always begins with a decision. It is the quiet choice you make when no one is watching, the promise you make to yourself when excuses are loud and motivation is low. Victory does not start in the gym, in the classroom, or in the workplace. Victory starts in the mind, in that single decision to do what is right, even when it is hard. You see, many people are waiting to feel ready before they act. They're waiting for motivation to show up, for energy to return, for the perfect time to begin. But disciplined people understand something powerful. You do not wait for feelings to lead you. You let decisions lead your feelings. Feelings change, emotions rise and fall, but a decision rooted in purpose remains steady. When you decide to wake up early, you may not feel like it. When you decide to stay focused, distractions will call your name. When you decide to remain patient, frustration will knock on your door. Yet discipline whispers, stay the course. Keep going. Do not surrender to the moment. The truth is, every day you are making decisions whether you realize it or not. You decide whether to keep scrolling or start working. You decide whether to give in to anger or respond with calm. You decide whether to quit or push through the discomfort. These small decisions may seem insignificant, but they are shaping your future one step at a time. Your life tomorrow is being built by the choices you make today. That is why discipline is not about perfection. It is about choosing the right path again and again, even after you have stumbled. There will be days when you feel tired, discouraged, and tempted to return to old habits. On those days, remember that discipline is not a feeling. It is a commitment. It is the determination to stand firm when your emotions try to pull you in the wrong direction. It is the courage to say no to what is easy, so you can say yes to what truly matters. And once you make that decision, everything begins to shift. Your mindset becomes stronger, your focus becomes sharper, and your confidence begins to grow. Because every time you keep your word to yourself, you build trust within your own spirit. So do not underestimate the power of a single decision made with conviction. That one decision can break chains, build new habits, and open doors you never thought possible. It can turn weakness into strength and hesitation into action. It can transform an ordinary life into a life of purpose and victory. Make the decision today, and your victory begins. After you make the decision to live with discipline, the next truth you must understand is this: your daily habits are quietly shaping your destiny. Not once in a while, not only on the days when you feel motivated, but every single day. The life you are living right now is the result of patterns you repeated yesterday, last month, and even years ago. Success is rarely the product of one dramatic moment. It is usually the result of small, consistent actions done faithfully over time. Think about it for a moment. A building does not rise in a single day. It is constructed brick by brick, layer by layer, until one day people stand back and admire its strength. In the same way, your character, your future, and your victories are being built one habit at a time. The way you start your morning, the way you manage your time, the way you respond to pressure, the way you treat people. These daily behaviors are not random. They are seeds, and every seed you plant will eventually produce a harvest. Many people want success, but they ignore the habits that create success. They pray for change, yet they resist changing their routine. They desire growth, yet they hold on to comfortable patterns that keep them stuck. The truth is simple but powerful. You cannot live the same way and expect a different outcome. If you want a stronger future, you must build stronger habits today. Discipline shows up in the ordinary moments, in choosing to work when you feel lazy, in choosing to stay focused when distractions are everywhere, in choosing to finish what you started when quitting feels easier. There will be days when your progress feels slow and unnoticed. You may wonder if your efforts are making any difference at all. But do not be discouraged by the silence of early results. Just as a seed grows beneath the soil long before it becomes visible, your disciplined habits are working behind the scenes. They are strengthening your mind, sharpening your skills, and preparing you for opportunities you cannot yet see. Consistency may feel boring, but it is powerful. Repetition may feel ordinary, but it is transformative. You must also understand that bad habits work the same way. Just as good habits build you up, negative habits slowly pull you down. Skipping responsibilities, wasting time, giving in to excuses. These choices may seem small in the moment, but over time they create barriers that block your progress. That is why discipline requires awareness. You must pay attention to what you are doing daily, because your routine is either moving you closer to victory or further away from it. The encouraging news is this: you do not have to change everything overnight. You simply need to start with one habit. One small positive action repeated consistently can begin a chain reaction of growth. Wake up a little earlier. Spend a few more minutes preparing. Stay focused a little longer. Over time, these small steps turn into powerful momentum, and momentum leads to lasting victory. Remember, your future is not decided by luck or chance. It is being written by the habits you practice every single day. Change your habits, and you will change your destiny. As you continue walking the path of discipline, you will quickly discover another powerful truth. Discipline always requires sacrifice. There is no victory without giving something up. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful had to say no to comfort, no to distraction, and sometimes even no to their own desires. That is the price of growth. It is not always easy, and it is not always convenient, but it is always worth it. We live in a world that encourages instant gratification. People want results quickly, rewards immediately, and success without struggle. But real success does not work that way. The greatest victories are reserved for those who are willing to wait, to endure, and to stay committed when the reward is not yet visible. Discipline teaches you the power of delayed gratification, the strength to resist what feels good now so you can experience something far better later. Think about the athlete who wakes up before sunrise. To train while others are still sleeping. Think about the student who studies late into the night while friends are relaxing and having fun. Think about the worker who keeps pushing forward even when exhaustion sets in. These individuals are not necessarily more talented than everyone else. What sets them apart is their willingness to sacrifice. They understand that comfort today can cost them success tomorrow, but discipline today can create freedom tomorrow. There will be moments when the easier choice will call your name loudly. You will feel the pull to quit when things become difficult. You will feel the temptation to take shortcuts when the path gets long. You will feel the urge to settle for less when progress seems slow. In those moments, discipline asks a simple but powerful question. What matters more right now? Temporary comfort or lasting victory? Sacrifice is not about punishment. It is about priority. It is about choosing what truly matters over what merely feels good in the moment. When you say no to distractions, you are saying yes to your future. When you give up a bad habit, you are making room for a better one. When you push through discomfort, you are building strength that will carry you through bigger challenges ahead. Every sacrifice you make is an investment, and every investment produces a return in time. You may not always see the results immediately, and that can be frustrating. There will be seasons when your effort feels unnoticed, when your patience feels stretched, and when your sacrifices feel heavy. But remember this: the seeds of discipline grow slowly, yet they produce strong and lasting fruit. The pain of sacrifice is temporary, but the reward of perseverance can last a lifetime. Do not be afraid of discomfort. Do not run from the challenge. Embrace the process, because every time you choose discipline over desire, you are becoming stronger than your excuses. You are proving to yourself that your purpose is greater than your impulses, and your future is more valuable than your comfort. Great victories belong to those who are willing to sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. As you continue growing in discipline, you will eventually realize that the greatest battle you will ever fight is not against other people, not against difficult circumstances, and not even against lack of opportunity. The greatest battle you will ever fight is the battle inside your own mind. That is where victories are first won, and that is also where defeats often begin. Long before actions take place on the outside, decisions are being made on the inside. Thoughts become choices, choices become habits, and habits become your life. Every single day, voices compete for your attention. One voice tells you to keep going, to stay focused, to remain faithful to your goals. Another voice whispers doubt, fear, and discouragement. It tells you that you are too tired, too late, too weak, or not capable enough. If you are not careful, that negative voice can grow louder until it begins to control your behavior. That is why discipline must begin in the mind. You cannot live a disciplined life with an undisciplined mind. Many people lose battles not because they lack strength, but because they surrender mentally before they ever try physically. They convince themselves that failure is certain, so they stop making the effort. They believe the lie that progress is impossible, so they settle for less than they are capable of achieving. But disciplined people understand something powerful. You do not have to believe every thought that enters your mind. You have the authority to challenge negative thinking, to replace doubt with determination, and to speak truth over your situation. Controlling your mind does not mean you will. Never feel fear or frustration. Those emotions are part of being human. The difference is that discipline teaches you not to let those emotions take control. When anger rises, discipline tells you to pause before you react. When anxiety appears, discipline reminds you to stay calm and think clearly. When laziness tries to settle in, discipline pushes you to take action even when motivation is low. It is the steady hand that guides your behavior when emotions become unstable. You must also understand that your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant there will eventually grow. If you constantly feed your mind with negativity, comparison, and doubt, those thoughts will produce discouragement and defeat. But if you fill your mind with truth, purpose, and hope, those thoughts will produce strength and confidence. That is why disciplined people guard their thoughts carefully. They pay attention to what they listen to, what they watch, and what they allow to stay in their hearts. They know that a healthy mind creates a healthy life. There will be moments when your mind feels overwhelmed, when pressure increases, and when challenges seem too heavy to carry. In those moments, remind yourself that you are stronger than the thoughts trying to defeat you. Take control of your thinking, steady your focus, and refuse to give fear the final word. Because once you learn to master your mind, you will discover a powerful truth that changes everything. Win the battle in your mind, and you will win the battle in your life. As you walk this path of discipline, there will come moments when you stumble. There will be days when your plans fall apart, when your strength feels weak, and when your progress seems to disappear. You may make mistakes you never intended to make. You may fall back into habits you thought you had already overcome. In those moments, it is very easy to feel defeated and believe that your journey is over. But you must understand this truth clearly. Failure is not the end of your story. Quitting is the only thing that can truly stop your progress. Every successful person you admire has faced failure at some point. They have experienced disappointment, rejection, and setbacks. The difference is not that they avoided failure. The difference is that they refused to stay down. Discipline is not proven when everything is going well. Discipline is revealed when things go wrong and you still choose to stand back up. It is the quiet determination that says, I may have fallen, but I am not finished. Failure has a way of speaking loudly to your emotions. It tries to convince you that you are not capable, that you are not strong enough, that you should give up before you get hurt again. But disciplined people learn to listen differently. Instead of hearing failure as a final judgment, they hear it as feedback. They ask themselves, what can I learn from this? What can I do better next time? That mindset turns failure into a teacher instead of an enemy. It transforms setbacks into stepping stones toward growth. You see, growth rarely happens in comfort. It often happens in the moments when things do not go as planned. When you face resistance, your strength is being developed. When you face disappointment, your character is being shaped. When you face obstacles, your endurance is being tested. These experiences may feel painful in the moment, but they are preparing you for greater responsibility and greater victory in the future. There will be times when progress feels slow, when results are delayed, and when your efforts seem unnoticed. You might wonder if all your hard work is worth it. You might feel tempted to walk away and settle for something easier. That is the moment when discipline becomes your anchor. It reminds you that success is not about never falling. It is about rising every time you fall. It is about staying committed even when motivation fades and emotions grow tired. Remember, a single mistake does not erase your progress. A temporary setback does not cancel your purpose. What matters most is your response. Will you allow failure to define you, or will you allow it to refine you? Will you stay on the ground, or will you gather your strength and move forward again? The answer to those questions will determine the direction of your life. So when you fail, and at some point you will, do not lose hope. Do not surrender to discouragement. Take a deep breath, learn the lesson, adjust your path, and keep moving forward with renewed determination. Because every time you rise after a fall, you become stronger than you were before. Never quit, because victory belongs to those who keep getting back up. As you continue to practice discipline day after day, you will begin to notice something surprising. What once felt restrictive will start to feel liberating. What once seemed difficult will begin to feel natural. Many people believe discipline takes away freedom, but the truth is exactly the opposite. Discipline is what creates freedom. It is the bridge that carries you from chaos to control, from frustration to peace, from dreaming to achieving. Without discipline, life becomes unpredictable and unstable. But with discipline, life gains direction and purpose. Think about a person who has no discipline with money. They spend without thinking, borrow without planning, and ignore the future. For a while, it may feel like freedom, doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But eventually, that lack of discipline leads to stress, debt, and limitation. Now compare that to a person who practices discipline. They save consistently, plan carefully, and make wise decisions. At first, it means requires sacrifice, but over time it creates security, confidence, and real freedom. The same principle applies to every area of life: your health, your relationships, your work, and your spiritual growth. When you control your habits, you gain control over your future. When you manage your time wisely, opportunities begin to open. When you discipline your emotions, your relationships become stronger. When you stay committed to your goals, your confidence begins to rise. Discipline builds stability, and stability creates peace of mind. You no longer feel pushed around by circumstances or controlled by impulses. Instead, you move forward with clarity, strength, and purpose. There will be seasons when discipline feels challenging. You will face pressure, distractions, and unexpected difficulties. But as you remain faithful to your principles, you will begin to see the rewards. You will notice that problems no longer shake you as easily. Temptations lose their power. Fear begins to fade. That is because discipline strengthens your character from the inside out. It builds resilience, patience, and self-respect. And once those qualities take root in your life, they become a foundation that cannot easily be shaken. You must also remember that victory is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes victory is quiet and steady. It is the moment you choose patience instead of anger. It is the moment you stay focused when distractions surround you. It is the moment you keep going when no one else notices your effort. These small victories add up over time, creating a life of strength and purpose. They shape your identity and prepare you for greater responsibilities and greater blessings. The disciplined life is not a perfect life, but it is a powerful life. It is a life where you take responsibility for your choices, learn from your mistakes, and continue moving forward with determination. It is a life where you refuse to be controlled by fear, laziness, or doubt. Instead, you stand firm, guided by values and driven by purpose. And when you live that way consistently, success is no longer a distant dream. It becomes a natural result of the way you live each day. True freedom is not found in doing whatever you want. It is found in becoming the person you were meant to be. Choose discipline, and victory will follow.